I'll be your moderator for today. Today we are going to have our first WASEND seminar, and it is going to be on the role of research in entrepreneurship and business idea development. And we have a wonderful resource person who is going to handle the main presentation. So the program outline, we are going to take opening prayer. And after that, we'll take an opening remark from our network coordinator. Then we'll do the introduction of the speaker. And then after that, we'll take the main presentation by the resource person. From there, we'll do some question and answers. And then we will send an evaluation form for everybody to give us a feedback, a closing remark, and then we'll be closing with a closing prayer. So without much ado, I'm going to call Mr. Kwajo Mafo to give us the opening prayer.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Puku. I hope you can all hear me.
Yes, we can hear you.
All right. Father, in the mighty name of Jesus, to me,
yes, please, you can hear you.
The students and faculty members to deliberate on this very pertinent topic. We are praying that you order guide our discussions at the end of the day, cause it to be a win-win situation for all of us. In Jesus' mighty name, I pray with thanksgiving. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very, very much.
Amen.
Thank you very much, Kwajo. So next, we will call on our network coordinator, who is Professor Ponyo, Jerry John Ponyo, who is also the Kwapu head for Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. We'll call him to give us the opening remark. Prof. Prof, please take over.
Okay, thank you. So once again, we are all welcome to the Maiden WASEND seminar. So the West Africa Sustainable Engineering Network for Development is a collaborative network of 4 colleges of engineering. From KNUST, we have the KNUST Engineering Education Project. We have 2 IE from Burkina Faso. We have EIE from Benin. And then we have GTTI in Gambia, all coming together to form the West Africa Sustainable Engineering Network for Development. Basically, we have come together to collaborate so that the synergy of our collaborative efforts will lead to advancing our core mandate as institutions of higher learning. For the next 2 years, the focus of the West Africa Sustainable Engineering Network for Development is in the area of energy access. And so basically, some of the activities that we collaborate in has to do with organizing exchanges so that we can have people move around the various institutions within the network and share their experience. We also do joint research or joint projects. We do capacity building workshops. And then one of the other activities is organizing seminars where we receive talks from people who are experts in their field. Today, we have gathered for the Maiden seminar as far as WASEND is concerned. And the focus of the seminar will be the role of research in entrepreneurship and then business development. Basically, we are looking at how we can commercialize our research. My brothers and sisters, it is not enough to conduct research and let it gather dust on our shelves. It is important that research is commercialize, it's important that we uptake research so that it will be of benefit to the institution and to society as a whole. It is my hope that the seminar will be engaging and beneficial to all of us, and moving forward will lead to making our research better and more impactful. With these words, I welcome each and every one of us to our maiden seminar as far as WASEND is concerned. Thank you, and over to you, Danny.
Thank you very much, Professor Ponyo, for that wonderful welcoming address. I remember once listening to an MIT lecturer, even when I was doing my PhD, and one of the lectures he was taking, and he told the students that once he took that position as a lecturer, one of the matured lecturers approached him and said, "Hey, if you want to be a millionaire, you've got to start a business." So even though he's a lecturer, he had some companies and some ideas he had patented and he was using to make money, because as they say, being a teacher, your reward will be in heaven. But if you're a businessman, you get it on earth. So I think it's very wonderful that we are going to have today's presentation, and I hope it's going to start some new passion in us to move from the lab and the research labs into the corporate space and make money. Our resource person today is in the person of Mr. Ransford Mensah. He was a course mate, and he's been a colleague that I've known for some time now. He has a lot of, should I call it, companies that he has started and registered. He has about 13 of them, and some of them are Hover Services Limited. We have Hover Consult, we have Hover Homes, Hover Farms Investment, Renedy Consult, Data Formatics, Digital Marketing Services and Training. We have Wikipix, which is a media solution for companies. He is also a member of the IIPGH, that is Institute of ICT Professionals, Ghana. He is also the president of the Men's Fellowship for his church, which is Adenta Baptist Church. He's the vice chair for WAS Residential Area Association. He also works with, he worked with Laplace Technology as regional general manager, managing about 7 countries' operations. He has done consultants for so many companies, and he's really, really passionate about research and about entrepreneurship. So I am very convinced that today he is an ideal resource person to take us through this topic. He's also married to, as he will put it, a wonderful woman, and he has 3 sons, very soon to join me at the 4th level. So without much ado, I want to welcome Mr. Ransford Mensah to take us through the presentation for about the next 45 to 1 hour.
All right, Daniel, I am trying to get into the participant to get Ransford, but I can't get him. So what name is he logged on with?
You see Hover Consult?
Hover, okay, that's fine. I've seen him. I'm making him a co-host.
Let me quickly.
It's fine. I've sorted it out. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you very much. I think I logged in from one of my emails. Right. Thank you very much for the opportunity. I think it is something I have dreamt of for a long time. And The reason being that in the days in school, that is, I was in KNUST from 2003 to 2007, I longed to have that chance to impact as many of my colleagues as possible. I started the entrepreneurial life very early, and from KNUST, I joined Ericsson as a telecom engineer, and later on became a solutions manager, meaning I was solving problems. But before I left KNUST, I started the entrepreneurial journey. And I have one solid conviction why I started then. My fundamentals has been, if I want to do business, I want to do the business of numbers. And the business of numbers is where you have a wide market, and even if your margins per product is 1 cedi, because you have a very wide market, you can easily make 1,000, 1,000,000, and that way. And being on campus at any time T I did 4 years, I had a market of averagely, if a first year is 5,000, second year 5,000, third year 5,000, postgraduates about 1,000, and you have medical schools and planning, what do you call it? The architectural students doing 7 years. So you have a market of about 30,000 students who can patronize a product you have. And these same markets are also your point of advertisement, because the moment your product is known by your colleagues or students, they will grow with it. Again, the student population is an elite population. So essentially, they are all going to grow up into the working class. Some are going to be medical doctors, engineers, pharmacists. And if they remember your company or your products, you will still keep those people as they climb up the economic ladder. So I gave my all as a student, and today I think I don't have any regrets that once in a while I trail the course, because I sacrifice books for business, and I'm a happy person because I see results from the little I do now. Now, I will come back to my profile. In the introduction, the chair mentioned.
Your screen.
Okay, just a minute.
Sorry, Ransford, kindly let me mute everyone, and then you can unmute yourself going forward. Please go ahead, you can unmute yourself.
All right, I think you have it clear now. Right, so on the whole, we are here for us to stimulate our minds on the need to research in our entrepreneurial journey. And it is very important that we understand the foundation of research in this course. Now, essentially, I will be using a few examples of what I have done in the past in this respect, and gradually we will build up as we go in the discussion. Now, way back in school, in I think second year, there was a power crisis in the country. That was around 2004. So I looked into myself and I said, how can I solve this power problem and become a sustainable business? So I decided to go into solar and backup systems, that is energy solutions. Now, that traction led me to study a lot about solar from KNUST campus. Now, those years, I quickly went to the internet because there was little resources available in terms of knowledge base. Then I started studying. I started reading about solar inverters, backup systems, and gradually I was able to appreciate the quantum of information that I needed. Now, as things were getting worse in the system in terms of energy crisis, business was also growing because I took advantage of the timing. So nobody taught me solar. I think that time we only had little information about photovoltaic. We were mentioned in the course of our studies, but I did a lot of learning in that space. So over the years, the past 18 years, I've been into design, I've been into sales, I've been into installations. I'm a hands-on person. I can install everything in the solar space, and it has actually fortified me. And I've done a number of projects in KNUST. I think the CCTV command center, I built and installed the solar system as a backup with redundancy there. Then I think there was a project on KNUST for the JHS, also the primary school. I did that overnight. I came there to install for the consultant. So that's for solar. Now, I'm also a farmer, and in the farming space, farming is a game of numbers. I started with pawpaw. I read so much into pawpaw and the value chain of pawpaw. Now, what I do is I read research documents. The research documents from my colleague PhD holders from the various institutions, I spend time on them online, trying my best to understand their samples, the criteria, the experiments, the iterations they did. Then I ask myself, so why have they not implemented this? Why is it still on the shelf? A typical example, I wanted to optimize my coconut farm. Now, how can my 5-acre farm give me 3 times the yield? An average coconut tree gives you 200, 300 fruits in a year. So I went online searching scholarly documents on researches that has been done, trying to maximize the output of the same tree. Now, in my study, I was able to discover very basic solutions that can be implemented by anybody that has been tried and tested, laboratory and on the field, with that 300% yield. And I started using on my farm. I see results in that space. And these are scholarly documents. Now, I'm trying to build a case to support the argument that your researches are worth more than the shelf, more than being on the shelf. Now, in the construction space, that is Hover Homes, I asked myself, I used to build for my colleagues. I have built in the past 12 years, I think every year, 1 or 2 houses for my friends, my classmates. And at a point, I asked myself, wow, I can essentially build a house without a drawing. I know almost every bits and pieces of the process. So how can I commercialize this flair? It's something in me. I don't struggle with it. So I decided to model it, register a business immediately. Then I put together the team I work with and started supervising them. Now, the next question was, how can I maximize this opportunity? So I went online looking at all the various aspects of property financing, property build options, and I came out with my option as we build with you. Because in the processes I've seen, it's so easy to build with the home builder, meaning the home builder, you give him a ground cost and they pay gradually and you build gradually. The reason being that if I ask you to dole out 50,000 Ghana cedis, you may not be able to do it in a year. But if I ask you to do 1,500 cedis a month, within 3 months, we will save about 4,500. That can do something on your site. And gradually, a year, 2 years, 3 years, I have kept a business with you for that long, and you have also gotten results from the little bit of money you are paying. So that's my strategy for my construction business. We built with you. Now, I've done a bit of introduction about myself. Let's zoom into the real test. So who are you? Please, can you see my screen? A moderator should just answer me.
Not yet.
You can't see my screen. Can you share the one I sent to you? I've logged into multiple devices and I'm finding it difficult to get one on. Can you let the resource person share that? I think I didn't make any changes with respect to.
Okay, I'm coming. Yeah, Irene, is it possible to help us share the screen?
I don't think I have the PowerPoint. If you send it to me, I can share.
Let's.
So please send it to my
Daniel,
email.
just quickly forward whilst we go on. We will have that quickly as we go on. So essentially, once I was invited, I asked myself, who is an entrepreneur? And I have a different way of seeing entrepreneur. For me, an entrepreneur, you are the product. You are the product. And being the product means that you are selling yourself. You are selling your integrity. You are selling your word. You are selling your capabilities. You are selling your capacity. You are selling your availability. So you yourself must become whatever you want to venture into. And once you see yourself as a product, you fire all your throttles. You give it all that you have to be able to pursue that agenda. The moment you take yourself out of the entrepreneurial journey, it means that you are looking up to other people to do the work for you. And that's where a lot of us fail. Now, you are also the ideas factory, meaning you are the manufacturer of the idea. So for the whole business or entrepreneurial journey to survive, the ideas must be kept alive. It must be nourished. It must be fueled. So the moment you run out of ideas, the business becomes to crumble. So you should be able to look at the initial, the mid-level, the future, then a very solid evolution plan where you have a trajectory in the next 2 years, the next 5 years, in the next 10 years. For instance, right now you come to me, Ransford, I want us to look at a 10-year development plan for my company. I will do a detailed interview of you and take note of your mindset, how you are thinking about the business. If I don't understand how you think about the business, everything I propose will not work because you are going to oil that to make it work. Now, if you ask me about who an entrepreneur is, an entrepreneur is anyone who is focused on numbers coming out of your idea. Numbers means how much money am I making from this idea? or how much will this fetch me? If you are unable to play the game of numbers, like if I'm doing 10 acres of pawpaw, I expect a monthly output of about 4,000 cedis a month. If I get 4,000 cedis from an acre times 10, that's 40,000. Now 40,000 times 12 months, my number should be able to stimulate me enough to give me sleepless nights. That if I don't do this thing, I will fail. So the moment you are able to manufacture, see yourself as a product, your mind becomes a factory, and the numbers are scaring you, they are keeping you alive, your brain becomes what? A processor. Is the slides on? Is the slides on the screen now?
Not yet, but we are working on it. We are working on it.
All right, thank you. So you now becomes a processor, means you are processing your dreams, you are processing it with passion to make sure it comes to reality. Then an entrepreneur person is analytic. You look at things with critical eyes. You need to combine adeptness to adroitness so that you don't take things just on the surface. If some people are saying, oh, we are going to do this, it will work. You have to look at it with a very analytic eye so that it can sustain you. Now, what many people don't know is that the entrepreneur journey is a very lonely drive. You don't enjoy it at the initial or mid stages. What you believe in, what you are convicted of, many people will not believe it. A lot of people will not trust your process. I remember when I started Hover Services Limited, way back on KNUST campus, I sought for something I can start on campus that has numbers. And in 2004, I prayed into it very well, fasted for almost 3 weeks, trying to know what can I do to make a difference. So I settled on cleaning services. Essentially, many of our hostel and halls, the students had carpets, and these carpets were mostly dirty. So I said, okay, let me put together a services that could support, I think I'm on the 5th slide, slide 5.
Okay.
Right. So let me put together something that could offer basic services to all these carpet users on campus. And gradually, I will be able to make some numbers out of them. So the idea was, let's clean carpets. I went to the internet cafes at IGRC, then did some Google, understood what carpet cleaning is. And the first thing that came to mind was Hoover machine, buy a Hoover machine. The Hoover. It was not so common. We had few of them in our used materials from abroad that were coming. So I said, oh, Hoover. So okay, let me give that as a company name. We will hover everywhere. So the name becomes a household name on campus. Now, after that initial stage, I thought of it as, well, what if in the next 100 customers, in the next 1 year, I'm going to get 1,000 rooms on campus? I said, wow, this is a journey. So when I opened up for applicants to apply for jobs, I interviewed in my hostel room about 200 potential workers. I kept them on the waiting list alone. Nobody understood what I was doing. People thought it was a scam. I kept them on the waiting list. Then I recruited only one person. Now, it was a startup. So now I have 200 people I can call on at any time but I've started with one. The first week, we got all our vacuum cleaners bent. And I went back to the research table and realized that I needed industrial machines. And that became a trajectory. I started researching into what chemicals can clean better. What products do I need? So in the 5-year stretch, I reinvested everything I had to make sure I could maintain a business of 80 permanent staff, then so many contracts on campus and in Accra. Now, can you give me the next slide? Why are you not an entrepreneur? I want to point these things because a lot of us have the capacity, we have the mindset, but we've not been able to launch out, and we are sitting on very critical research. And the next thing is to print it in green. I remember those in the College of Engineering shelf, and it will gather all the dust. Now, I want it right. Many of us want to come out with a business first time right. And that is where we fail to realize that you may not get it right on the first time, but you need to dare to start, and you learn through the process. Fear grips a lot of us. We're always thinking about money, but we are not thinking of availability as money, trust as money, knowledge as money, and our ability to critically analyze them as money. Because if you have money without knowledge, it's a waste. So your research should be a baseline to motivate you enough. You should master the ability to communicate. Whatever you learn, you need to put out your one-liner or your three-liner. If you meet the CEO of a company in the elevator pitch, within 2 minutes, the elevator will reach the next 5 floors. You are going to the 7th floor. You are alone with the CEO. What are you going to tell this CEO that will let him ask for your phone number? And I believe if as many people on this Zoom session would decide to master their elevator pitch, very soon you will see results. My policy has always been no is just an option. So yes and no. If I come today and you give me no, tomorrow I come back, you say no. I go back and research. I go back and read and communicate. Then the last time I come, I know you say yes. So let's not be afraid. Sometimes we feel it's too cumbersome. But I tell you, nothing is so simple. Even when we give you 1 billion Ghana cedis to count, you realize that it's not so simple. Even when you have the money to count, it's tiring. Now, a lot of us are afraid of criticism. I remember as an engineering student in the first year, I told my parents at our morning devotion at home that I'm starting cleaning services on campus. My father, being a banker, looked at me and said, "What do you mean? An electrical engineer, you want to start cleaning? What is it? My friend, focus on your books." And I was bold then to tell him in the face, you don't know how much I've spent researching. You don't know how much I've spent praying. You don't know how much conviction I have in my heart. I'm going to start. If I fail, I fail. If I succeed, I succeed. And the whole house, only one person was behind me. That's my sister. And we kept encouraging each other. And today, she is a doctorate degree holder with molecular biology, and she has one of the biggest baby care business, Chimen Online, serving the whole country. She's lectures at Kolebu, and she's still in business. It's a conviction. Dare the criticism. Face the business as a game. and a game is what we play. Now, I want to go into a bit the stages in developing ideas, right? Our topic is ideas generation, research in ideas and business. Let me just capture it well. The role of research in entrepreneurship and business idea development. Now, there are stages. You need to be creative enough to generate your ideas. Please give me slide 7, stages in entrepreneurship. Now, this is where your thoughts come to crystallize. You put them together. They are just so, I call it effervescence. Today, something flashes through your mind. And what I do at this stage is I take time and ask myself, can I put these things together? And the moment you zoom into putting the ideas together, you move into the evaluation stage, where you write it down, you spend time to think about it, then you do personal SWOT analysis. So this thing I'm going into, what are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? What are the opportunities present? What are the threats? You need to look at all these in terms of you as a first product, then the idea or the business as the second product. Once you okay your personal SWOT analysis, please, you are good to go. Then you zoom to the next stage, which is planning it. Many of us only think of writing our thesis just to give to our lecturers and supervisors, but we fail to realize that theses are products that you've been asked to write. It's a product. And if we could have an entrepreneur mindset, you should walk out of your master's degree into your business. You shouldn't be looking for a job. Now, as a professional, I've interviewed tons of people over the years, and there's one question I ask people. If you put down your CV, you are master's degree in this, master's degree in that, what can you do for yourself outside of your CV? That's always what I want to know when I'm employing people. Because your CV is written just like your research and your thesis. But what you can do for yourself is a product you are birthing out. So in the planning stage, you need to do a 360-degree analysis of yourself. Am I ready? Can this help me? This thesis I'm writing, can I be in it? And for instance, last 2 years or so, last year, some students which I picked from Dr. Poku for internship came to me with a project topic. I think the use of solar cooker. They wanted to design solar cooker. And I said, come on, guys, how much is normal cooker that you want to look at solar cooker? What are the components you are looking at? So immediately I Googled it and I showed them what goes into it. And I said, in our economics here, this is something you shouldn't waste so much time on. After school, how can you sell solar cooker to a local person on the street? It's not marketable. So I decided that, guys, advise your project supervisor to give you something interesting. And I don't know what happened next, because the project was not stimulating for our economics. It has been done in India, and the cost component was so much to it. Now, after planning, look at strategy. How do I start? Where do I start from? Who are my first customers? How do I get more customers? The research is technical. It has statistics, empirical evidence, results from laboratory. But those are in the laboratory. On the grounds, who are you going to sell to? Where are you selling from? Is it from your family members, your classmates, your lecturers, or you are going to target an institution to sell to? If it's a chemical, if it's a pharmaceutical product, if it's an engineering component, who are your first off-takers? Now you look at marketing strategy? How do I reach the customer? What sales pitch am I going to give them? See, once you are able to build all these around the product, you will see that the research you are working on becomes so personal and you are living in the research. Now, with the next slide, please, the need for research. Now, I've quickly spoken about the KNUST Hover Services one because it's a presentation, I need to let it flow. Now, once you are able to live within your research, you'll be able to prioritize the key areas that will propel you to the next level. Then once you have prioritized it, you can have control, meaning you authorize it, means you can speak about it, you can be convicted about it, you have the original script. Even if the project is on the shelf, you are the working version of the project. Then you can monetize it. Now, I want to share this case study. I did my national service at GIMPA, and sincerely, at GIMPA that time, I was already running my cleaning company in Accra and Kumasi. All my life, I want to learn. So any opportunity to join a new place, I say it's a learning curve. Now, my fundamentals about student communities also pushed me. When I got that chance, I would take it. So luckily, I had one professor, Professor Clement Somoa, to work under in the School of Technology. So he took me to his lectures. He was lecturing the MBA and EMBA classes. Now, I sat listening to his classes. He was teaching them data flow diagrams, MIS processes. So when we came back, I told him, Prof, I want to teach this class. He said, Ransford, you don't have a master's degree or PhD. I said, Prof, I don't have that, but I want to break down these things into ABCD so that every one of them in the class can be a working version of what you are teaching them. Because as a teaching assistant, many of them were coming to me that they didn't understand the course. So I told him, if the faculty will not allow me to teach, then Prof, allow me to do private classes for these students. He said, go ahead. Now, their problem at the EMBA was they didn't have a material for data flow diagrams. So I quickly put together a book on Microsoft Visio to guide the students to be able to do data flow diagrams in Visio to represent all the processes. And the whole EMBA classes, I sold out. That's business. I took advantage of the opportunity. I built it. I invested a little, and it came up. Now, the degree students and the pre-entry students, as national service, we were teaching them ICT. They were learning computer without manuals. So I look at the EMBA, then quickly put together a Microsoft guide to Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and I think I printed over 1,000+ copies. Then I sold out. So immediately before I left GIMPA campus as a national service person, I had bought my land because I was able to take advantage of the opportunity. Now, I'm telling you this because some of you in your research, you have been engaging companies. You go every day, look at the talk about it, you go to your supervisor, and you are not looking. You are not tapping the opportunities presented to you. As an individual, every problem I encounter, I see differently. I see it as an opportunity to make money. Because if I don't solve problems, I can't make money. So when I see filthy roads and gutters, I say that's where I can sell my cleaning services. If somebody is struggling to build, that's where I can sell my construction services. If there's power crisis, that's where I can do my solar business. So we look at opportunities with that eye. So with people of our caliber, reading so many books, our ability to search for documents online, we need to monetize what we learn. Now, how do I make sure I solve a financial need? Meaning you monetize what you learn. Now, this slide is not on your pack. I added 7 steps to research processes, which I know many of you have. Means you define the problem, you review the literature, you formulate your hypothesis, you prepare the research design, you collect data, you analyze the data, then you interpret and write your report. That is the status quo. That is what will make you pass your master's and PhD. But the other thing is how you convert all these things into your entrepreneurial journey. Now, slide 10 is about brainstorming when you are in a group. And all I've been talking about, I've been speaking as an individual, but there are instances where you find yourself in a group working on a project. You need to be able to brainstorm. Now, why do I say group? Over the years, I have this special conviction that the direction of projects that are done in our universities is wrong. I stand for correction. I say it's wrong because we ask the students to research in the impact of photovoltaic emission on, let's say, the economy. And we expect such a person to be able to convert that into a business when the person is just an engineering student. Now, as a member of the IIPGA, that is Institute of ICT Professionals, about 4 years ago, I have tried to come out with a solid software company. I failed. And I launched about 2 mobile apps with 2 of my companies, and it lasted for just a year. I couldn't get the results I needed. I'm not a software developer, but I'm a solutions architect. I can build the concept, do the projections and everything, but I can't code. So I always employ people to do that for me. Now, in all these my ventures, what I've realized is that for a good software company to thrive, you need partners in other fields. You need marketing partners, you need lawyers, you need the software developers, then you need somebody who will be a custodian so that if the partners leave, they still keep the integrity of the project. And that's what I envisage for our universities to pilot. Can we have an integrated project where we have an engineering student, we have a social science student, we have a pharmacy student, a medical student, we have, let's say, a lawyer, a marketing student, a visual art student. Then we say, guys, a College of Science, College of Art student, guys, this project is an integrated project where all your skill sets are needed so that we get a product out. And once we have a product out as an integrated project, all of you become co-owners and you can implement it. The burden many of us have after our project thesis is that we don't have that capacity to implement it. We have done so much of the theory, and the capacity to take it to the next level is challenging. Give me the next slide, slide 11. That is 10 on your slide. Time is of the essence. What you have in your idea is a product, a service, a solution, and it has to be time bound. Way back on campus, I experimented a food business. I wanted to come out with dry food that students can keep, cocoa, banku. So I experimented in the house on the long vacation. The product could stand for about 3 months. Then when we came to school, I spoke to a few lecturers to guide me how I can market the product. At that time, it was unique. I wanted to go first to market. I tested it. It was authentic. But at the end of the day, I didn't get the needed push from the people I consulted. They discouraged me. Only for us to see neat fufu, neat cocoa, and other things after 2 or 3 years. And that is where many of us are procrastinating. We think we have good products. Oh, let me go and work and make some money. You need to start. You need to work on that. Now, as a technocrat would-be entrepreneur, your power is in research. Build a fortitude of knowledge around the idea. Work around it. The internet is your advisor and marketplace. The skill set you need to add and work on is available. COVID has exposed our system that we could learn from anywhere. All you need is your internet and you'll be able to get there. Now, the next slide is business model conceptualization. There is an opportunity for success if we can model it right from the start. Fortify yourself with knowledge. Do a lot about the issue you are working on as a thesis student or a master's student. Don't just think of the certificates and how you are going to make a double salary after you graduate. Spend more time trying to understand what you are working on. Engage timely. Build an engagement strategy in the area you want to focus on. Get the right targeted people to speak to, and let more of your work be in market research, because we do a lot of hypothetical analysis in our documentation, and we come out with figures. We've done projections in SPSS and say we have analyzed results. Me, when I am discussing with you, MBA, EMBA, whoever, you come to me, I ask you, what is the brick and mortar of your thesis? If you cannot hold it, if you cannot feel it, if it cannot be done from ABCD, that means that it's hypothetical. Your assumptions have not been really tested on the ground. They are still laboratory assumptions. So these whole things will work if we can go through a recycle process. Yes, you did it. Can you pilot it? Can you rework it? So that you have a feel of ownership that this thing has been tested. Now, the next slide is, in the marketplace of ideas, you need to work hard on how the idea fit into your competence area. Build correct competence around it. If the topic is too difficult, change it. Don't struggle through it because you just want to pass. And I got so sad when we started a small business writing proposals and research work for students. I used to charge them. If you are not able to do your assignment and research, I'll charge you so much. But at the point, I advised my sister that we stop, because the things we were doing was not good. It's good business when it comes to money. But people who are coming out as master students couldn't write their thesis. They are paying for people to write for them. It means that wherever they are, they have failed the system and they have failed themselves essentially. Right. Passion is key in the idea's execution. If you are not passionate, you can't be a businessman. What you are doing, you have to be very happy about it. Some people are tired and they don't want to spend time on what they are doing. It means that you are not called to be there. And you need to answer these critical questions. Now, what is the size of your idea through your research? Now, as you are researching, you need to be able to visualize the size of what you are working on. And my fundamentals are clear. We are looking at, can all these your research work be translated into an entrepreneurial venture? I tell you, the moment you are able to see the size of your ideas or your research work through the entrepreneur eyes, the effort you put in will change. You will feel that you are not just doing a document for your lecturer, but you have a personal call for your life. Because if you are spending 6 years on a thesis for your doctoral works, why do you want to spend your rest of your life after 6 years of quality investment wasting that